Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to the channel. I am still sick, sadly, but I am getting better. So hopefully that doesn't come through in this video. And I also want to preface this clip that I have here of me and my friend last week. We were playing some Modern Warfare 2019, doing a little drinking, doing a little goofing, and we were doing this challenge where we were trying to do these gunfights and up the bot level every time we won, and we got to a point where it was almost impossible to win against the max number, which is a 2v8. But we eventually did it, and it was pretty entertaining. We had a great time, and so that's the gameplay I'm using for this video today. I want to talk about getting ahead of the game, and what I mean by that is I worked pretty early on in my teens at jobs, multiple jobs, up until college, and continue working through college. But I feel like that got me ahead of my classmates, and I want to discuss kind of that journey and what I learned from that. So once I was 15, as early as 15, I got my first actual job. I was a camp counselor at my local pool, which I grew up with since I was born, basically, and it was pretty fun. We took care of kids. I just kind of helped around. I didn't really do too much. It didn't really feel like a job to me. I was getting paid not a lot, definitely under minimum wage, but I was doing it so I could have money that I made without my parents giving me any money, which felt good. Quickly after that job, a few years later, I got my first, what I quote unquote call my big boy job, in a business that wasn't really full of people I knew entirely. So a lot of these people were, strangers to me. But I did work with some of my high school buddies there, and it was at a trampoline park, and I thought it was pretty cool. I already worked well with kids, and who doesn't like trampoline parks? Like, come on, like those places are fun. So I got that job instantly, but to be honest, it was not really worth it most of the time. My shifts were like super boring. I was just standing there, not doing a really whole lot, just staring at the clock on the wall. You're just watching kids jump on trampolines most of the time, and then like cleaning up afterwards. So it wasn't really that enjoyable. Sometimes it was fun. I'd be playing like dodgeball. We had a dodgeball court, and I'd play with some kids. If like I was able to, I didn't have to keep track of absolutely everybody at the same time, which made it fun. But the pay was just not good, and some of the stress that came with that job just wasn't worth it over time. Um, I was happy though to finally get my car because of that job, my first car, and my dad also helped pay for that. Thank you, Dad. Um, and this is what really got me to become a working individual. Not even done with high school, really. Now I had to maintain that car, pay its gas, anything that went wrong with it, which was kind of a lot. That car was not the greatest car. I picked it off of the side of the highway, but I think I got my worth out of it and gained some serious money. But this led me to work elsewhere, such as a car wash for a few years, and I got free washes for me and my parents, which was pretty sick. I kind of do miss that job a little bit, but again, the pay wasn't great. Then this finally got me to my ultimate luxury job that paid me the big bucks and somehow still pays big bucks and pays my bills, which is Domino's, as you guys all know. It might have been stressful and taken my time away as a teenager from enjoying the freedom I would have had without working a job, through my teen years, but more importantly, without realizing, it made me a harder worker. I bought most of a car, again, thanks Dad. Maintained a nice steady stream of income, learned discipline at many workplaces, and got to really venture on my own with my own money before college. I knew tons of people at my college, fellow classmates, that have never filled out a W-2, an I-9, or even considered having a job before college. I'd been through six by the time I was in college, so I had been through the ringer, and it really did teach me to, be diligent. Time management, even like with college, like you need to have a lot of time management without having a job. So I had to balance that and a job. And at some other points, I had two jobs, so that was, a lot to handle. But I feel like it shaped me into being kind of a harder worker, and I think that's kind of reflected on the jobs I have now. I mean, I still work at Domino's, of course, but my other job, which is after school coding, as some of you probably know by now. Um, I really got that job from hard work and being very diligent on my studies, especially like the latter half of my years. I don't know about the first 2 years, but the latter half for sure. And I think it reflects like that I could handle a job. I could really um, take time to balance everything and do good work in all areas that I do. Um, Even here on YouTube, I try to keep everything balanced and try to keep up with everything as much as I can, even though I'm sick. I'm fighting a bit of an illness, but it um it was really beneficial, and I don't really regret, even starting working. I mean, I feel like 15's not too old or too young. I feel like it's a good time to start. If you're, I don't think a lot of my demographic is below the age of like 18, but if you are watching and you are particularly lower than, you're in your early teens somehow watching this video, um, I wouldn't worry about, getting a job, especially if your family is like above middle class or anything like that. Like, obviously, you don't need to worry about that at all. You might even have an allowance. You don't really need that type of stuff, but it does build character. I feel like you learn about people, you learn about how to manage your time, you learn about um, all sorts of things. Like, you make mistakes all the time. I've made plenty of mistakes at my job, some a little more rash than others that I don't want to quite admit, maybe just yet, but I've had some interesting experiences with those jobs, and that's what really builds character, I feel like, and gets you off your feet, and that's what kind of like the difference between me and some of my classmates I found. I was pretty astonished with like a lot of the people I talked to at my college. They were just like, I've never had a job before. I'm so worried about getting a job when I get out of college. And I'm like, dang, man, that's crazy. Like I've had so many jobs, maybe like 8 or 9 by this point. Um, and I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable with like the signing up, the interviews, the worst part is probably finding the job. But once you kind of get in there and, you got your foot set in the door, it's kind of just like go with the flow at that point. Try to absorb as much as you can on your first few days, your first few weeks. Get acclimated with whatever system you got going on in your business, your industry, and I mean it's kind of free floating from there. The hardest part is getting into it, and I saw that in so many people's eyes when I was graduating college. They were so nervous about getting their first time real job. Even one of my best friends never had a job before, like just never worked, which is super interesting to me. So I really wouldn't trade that for anything. And it's not like I worked my ass off when I was a kid. I worked maybe, I don't know, at max 20 hours a week if I could think about it hard enough, which is obviously not a lot. Most weeks I would work maybe like 4 or 5 hours, especially when I worked at that trampoline park place. I barely worked. I would skip weekends a lot of the time too because I would like to watch football. But yeah, that was pretty much my gist of getting ahead of the game and how I feel about that. I feel like that's some stuff that you guys can learn about. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay as well. We struggled to get this thing done with all these bots, dude. It was a little crazy, but we finally achieved victory at the end, and it was great. And with that, I'm gonna end the video here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.